Okay, today's topic is solving equations with variables on both sides. Please copy down everything that you see. Remember, if this is going too fast for you, please politely tell the substitute teacher to pause the video and then resume it when you are ready. So you're copying down that objective, solving equations with variables on both sides, the example, and the goal. Okay, the goal. It says to get the variables on one side of the equal sign and the constants on the other. Remember, a constant is just a number without a variable. So if I look at my equation here, 3 minus 2t equals 7t plus 4. My variable is this negative 2t and 7t. I need them to be on the same side of the equal sign. So I need to take one of these terms and move it to the other side. And remember, when we move something to the other side of the equal sign, that means that we are doing the inverse operation. So let's look at my 7t. Let's say I want to move this to the other side of the equal sign so it goes with my negative 2t. Currently, there is no sign in front of the 7, so that means that the 7 is positive. So I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to subtract 7t from both sides. Remember that equal sign is like a border. What you do to one side of the equation, you must do to the other. So now, 2t minus 7t would give me negative 9t. Bring down everything else in the equation. Now this is a two-step equation. 3 minus 9t equals 4. I need the variables to be on the same side, so we already did that. So now it's the constants terms. It's the constants' turn to get on the same side. So I need to move this 3 so it is on the same side of the 4. Currently it is a positive 3, so I need to do the opposite and I need to subtract 3. These will cancel out, so I'm left with negative 9t equals 4 minus 3, 1. All right, the last step would be to divide by negative 9. And we are going to get a fraction answer. Our answer is negative 1/9. Oop. So a t equals negative 1/9. Okay, next example. 3d plus 8 equals 2d minus 7. So I need my d's to be on the same side of the equal sign. So I want to move this 2d over so it's with the 3d. So currently it's positive, so I want to do the opposite, and I want to subtract 2d. Well, 3d minus 2d would just give me 1d. These cancel out. Write down everything else you see. Make sure on this side we're bringing down a negative 7. Okay, 1d plus 8 equals negative 7. Now I need the constants to be on the same side, so I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to say, okay, if it's a positive 8, if it's adding 8, I need to subtract 8. So I get d equals negative 15. And that's my final answer. Next example, I have 4x minus 12 equals 51 minus 5x. So first step, get the variables on the same side. So I could either move over the 4x by doing the opposite, or I can move over the 5x by doing the opposite. I'm just going to always try and keep the variables on the left, so we're going to move this negative 5x. If it's minus 5x, we're going to do the opposite, and we are going to add 5x. Let me change colors because this looks like it's not going to show up. Much better. Okay, so I'm going to add 5x to both sides. 4x plus 5x, well, that's going to give me 9x minus 12 equals 51, because these x's cancel out. So I need the constants on the same side now that I successfully have moved the variables to the same side. So here I have a minus 12. I need to do the opposite, so I'm going to add 12. Okay, so I get 9x equals 63. My next step is going to be to divide 9 by both sides. All right, so my final answer, 63 divided by 9, I should get 7. Okay, now it's your turn to try it on your own. Please try these two problems. I ask that the substitute teacher now pauses the video so you can try them, and when you are done, only a few minutes from now, please ask them to restart it. Okay, so we've practiced a few problems, but I want to make one note before we get into some more difficult ones. Does it matter if you get the constants on the right and the variables on the left? No, you just need to get them on one side of the equation and the constants on the other. So could I technically say, okay, I want to add 26 to both sides? Sure. That would cancel out. I'm left with 4x plus 32 equals 9x. So now what makes sense for me to get the variables on the other side of the variable? If I have 4x plus 32 equals 9x, I want to move this positive 4x so it's on the other side. So now if it's positive, I'm going to do the opposite and I'm going to subtract. So now I would get 32 equals 5x. Divide by 5 is the final step, so x equals 32 fifths. So does it matter what side you get the variables on? No, as long as the variables are on one side of the equal sign and the constants are on the other. That is our goal. All right, if you notice now, we have parentheses. Anytime you have that number on the outside of the parentheses, we are going to have to use the distributive property. So let's distribute. I'll give you a couple more seconds to finish copying this down. Okay, let's distribute. So I have 2 times 4, and that's going to give me 8. 2 times negative 2r is a negative 4r. Other side of the equal sign, I'm distributing a negative 2. So negative 2 times r is going to be negative 2r. And then negative 2 times 5 would just be negative 10. So now that just added one step to us. We just had to distribute. Now I need to get the variables so they're on the same side. I'm going to move this term, negative 2r. I'm going to move it so it's on the other side. So I'm going to do the inverse. So I'm going to add 2r to both sides. Negative 4r plus 2r would be negative 2r. Bring everything else down that you see. Now this is a two-step equation. I need to get my constants on the other side. So if I have a positive 8 here, I'm going to have to do the opposite. I'm going to have to subtract 8. So I get negative 2r equals negative 18. Divide by negative 2. So r equals a positive 9. Okay, go ahead, copy down our next example. All right, this one only has one set of parentheses, so I'm going to distribute 3 to the next two terms. So I would get 3n minus 3, and then just write what the other side had, 2n plus 3. All right, I'm going to move this n term to the other side, so it's a positive 2n, so I'm going to do the inverse, and I'm going to get a negative 2n. 3n minus 2n gives me n. So my next step would be to get the constants on the same side, so I'm going to do the inverse and add 3 to both sides. So n would equal 6. Final answer. Okay, go ahead, try this one on your own. Please pause the video until you are done. Okay, you should have gotten the answer of x equals 3.